Hello, everyone. It's been a while. 2 years, in fact. It's been 2 years since our last cup of tea episode, but things have changed at Hammers Chat, which has made this show quite difficult to do. But we thought we'd bring it back for a little bit of a special. Truth be told, Gonzo, I was expecting and hoping to be discussing the sacking of Lopetegui and the potential appointment of Graham Potter as well. And it seemed, last night it seemed likely it was going to happen. And I still get the feeling it was a possible straightforward transaction. Certainly half of it is. And I feel like we're almost making an easy thing difficult and far more difficult and complicated than it actually needs to be. And I think that's what my frustration is at the minute, that the club are just hung up that they have to get the next guy signed on the dotted line before they sack Lopetegui. I think you can do one without the other. And that's my biggest frustration in all of this. But anyway, how are you feeling right now?
I think exhausted with it all, actually, truth be known. There's been so much, it's been relentless. It's been like a machine gun. The information's been like machine gunned out. It's not like transfer window and you get one story and, maybe it gets fed out that West Ham are interested in Jean-Claire Todibo, but Juventus are interested and Man United can't get him. And then Juventus, you get this one story which plays out over a couple of weeks. It has been singular, really good stories which have come out almost one after the other, machine gunned out, while you've had this undertone of the same story which probably hasn't changed for the best part of 30 hours, which is Potter. They were in negotiations, they remain in negotiations, and it's just sort of everyone else is sort of roller coastering with it and saying, oh, it's stalling, oh, it's looking more positive, oh, it's stalling, oh, it's looking more positive. So so I think from a news point of view, from a West Ham point of view, it's been incredibly frustrating to see how far behind we are a lot of other clubs in just the way, not just we appoint a manager, but the way we dismiss one. It's crazy. We seem to have, particularly in the way that we might treat Lopetegui, it's weird. We've got a bit of a mean streak about us, but without being ruthless. But they're strange. You would expect one to go with the other. If you're going to be mean, you might as well just be ruthless and do it. So we just got a habit of being able to drag things out, and I just sometimes look at us as like almost like we're like an antique in many respects, Geo. You look at some of these other clubs. Pick your club, but they're so much slicker, and it's just feels like everybody at the club's pulling in the same direction. It just feels everyone at West Ham is pulling in different directions.
Yeah, it's just cruel, isn't it? It's like a cat playing with a mouse before it really kills it off to some extent. And I think the end is inevitable that Lopetegui gets sacked. Everybody knows that, and I would suggest even Lopetegui knows that. Hence why that Spanish journal, whose name I can never pronounce,
Guillaume Balaguer,
that one. That's why he's starting to, you speak about machine gun. He's just firing a little revolver at the minute. It's just one bullet, but I'd imagine he's got his machine gun sat there ready, and he'll be rubbing his hands because he'll have an exclusive with Lopetegui lined up if he gets sacked, and it'll be on his YouTube channel, and he'll get the big one. And in fairness, I think I'd be quite intrigued as to what Lopetegui's got to say, because I think he's been poor and I think he's made a lot of bad decisions. But it's got to the point where Sullivan's almost done something quite clever. Well, I say quite clever. It's almost miraculous, really. He's united everybody in feeling sorry for Lopetegui, which is quite a feat, to be honest with you. But he knows he's going to. The thing is, he'll never walk away, and I don't want him to walk away. The best thing for West Ham is that Lopetegui hands in his resignation tomorrow and said, "I'm not dealing with this. I'm off." And West Ham saved a few million quid. That'll help us. But I don't think he should. I think, he knows he's going to get the sack. He's turning up. He's doing his job as expected. And he's waiting for his £3 million payoff. So go on then, sack me. Give me my money and I'll do one to some extent. He's got his press conference tomorrow, which is going to be interesting and ugly. It's car crash stuff, really. You don't want to look, but you're going to have to. And I don't know what he's going to say going into it, but he's got an opportunity to load his own gun as well and start firing it out in that press conference. And he can nail Graham Potter to a cross if he wants to and say, I think it's disgusting that a manager would have talks when I'm still in his position. He can nail Tim Steidten, he could Sullivan, whatever. He could come out guns blazing. I imagine he'll come out and keep his head down and perhaps the press officer, Ian Taylor, might come out first and say he's not taking any questions on his future. Move on, team news only. But it certainly is. It's the first press conference of Lopetegui's I'm looking forward to. I'll be honest with you, Gonzo.
It's yeah. I mean, it's actually it's in many respects, I think, the cruelest thing of all is making him go through that press conference. I don't think it's nice, and the media team can do all they want. I think they should be putting someone else up there, and I think if it was me, I'd be putting an assistant up there, not the goalkeeping coach who's been there for ages, but like the third, actually not the defensive coach. That wouldn't go well either.
Do we have one?
Yeah, apparently not. The fitness coach or something, but someone with really, really bad English, and I'd just put him up there just to save Lopetegui. And because it's one thing stringing him along, it's another that is thrown to the wolves. Although I do think there'll be elements of the media who are sympathetic towards him. Don't get me wrong, and I think you're right. I think he'll say, "I just want to concentrate on the game" and stuff like that. I think he has been dignified, and I think the undermining of him has been going on for quite some time.
Yeah,
from both the club and from Tim Stuyton. And I think he's kept his counsel well. When it's going to be like a tsunami, though. When he goes, I think you're right. I think in the press conference, nothing. And then when he goes, it will be you talk about it's not just machine guns, it's going to be RPGs, it's going to be fighters, there's going to be tanks. There's going to be a lot of mud getting slung, and there's going to be some pretty unpalatable things said, particularly about Tim Stuyton. That whole thing, you read in between the lines, there's no doubt about it. What Guillaume Balaguer was saying about someone's pouring behind the scenes, someone's pouring petrol on Lopetegui. That's it's quite clear
and a scarf.
That is. Yeah, absolutely. It ain't. He's not talking about Mark Noble, so it's obvious who he's talking about. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty explosive.
Yeah, the press conference is on Thursday, not tomorrow. Sorry, I'm getting my days muddled up. I keep thinking it's Wednesday today.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same for FA Cup as Carabao Cup. It's certainly the Carabao Cup. You don't have to put the manager out for a press conference. So I don't know if FA Cup's the same. I don't know if the rules are relaxed, whether it's all domestic or just that one in particular. So he might manage to get away with it a little bit. But if anything, I think, the club, come on, man, just put him out of his misery, please, for the sake of everyone. And I think the difference between him and, Moyes going was that Moyes had success at West Ham. And I think he had respect for the board of West Ham United, although they didn't always see eye to eye. And he's had a lot of nice things to say about West Ham since moving on. And he's never shut the door on a third reign at West Ham. There's always been a bit of him that's sort of left it there, saying, well, maybe one day I'll go back. He's always left it there. Whereas Lopetegui's not had success. He's not going to be coming back, and he's probably not got much respect either. So I think it'll be quite an interesting one. I can't really tell what he says often, but I'll do my best to tune in to anything Lopetegui's got to say press conference onwards. Now, we're going to cover the latest from Sky Sports and what the Times are saying and all that in just a second. Before we do, just want to click on this comment from Charlie, who says everyone should like the video. I quite agree. So if you're watching live, please do subscribe if you're new to the Hammers Chat channel, and also do drop a like on the video as well by clicking the thumbs up. And a little bit later on, we'll promote Patreon. But Gonzo, the latest around Potter rather than Lopetegui hasn't really changed. Sky Sports are running with it, suggesting it's a done deal, but I think they're labeling it up as another round of talks. However, it feels a little bit like they're maybe just repeating what everybody else has been saying, which is there's a discrepancy in what Graham Potter wants on his length of contract, which is 2.5 years. The club are willing to offer 6 months with clauses in there, but the clauses are, well, I don't know. You'll know more than I do, but whether they're achievable or realistic enough is the debate rather than the clause itself.
Yeah, I mean, look, as far as I know, and I don't think much has changed since what I found out at 2:00 today, yesterday Sullivan met him. That was clear. They met at Sullivan's house. At Sullivan's house, he's semi-detached. Met at Sullivan Mansions. Today it has been, and everybody was present at that one apparently. Including Karen Brady. Today, the negotiations have been pretty much led by Karen Brady. There was a big presumption, and I was guilty of this as well, that way back before the Wolves game, that we had big negotiations with Graham Potter. We had agreed a 6-month deal. We hadn't. West Ham very much went into this thinking they were going to get a 6-month deal. And I think we had. So I think when we first approached him, maybe that was something that might have been possible. Very much, and you look at the Times, it's very much Potter's team, Potter's side of things who have briefed the Times today. When you look at that now, they've very much got into it, his negotiating team, as they want 2.5 years. West Ham went into this with 6 months, so there's quite a lot there. Now, West Ham have offered a break clause. They say, okay, we'll give you your 2.5 years, but we want a break clause where we can both turn around and have a look at each other, which Potter is clearly, I don't know this bit, but Potter is clearly arguing, so what's the difference between that and a 6-month contract, which you can understand. I think one of the biggest things about this, though, so I don't think anything's changed. All that happens is you see the media change the narrative ever so slightly. So I don't think much has changed since yesterday morning, right? The narrative changes. So somebody says it's done, and somebody says, oh, it doesn't. Somebody says, oh, hold on, it's breaking down. Oh, hold on, it's back on again. So unless Sky Sports have got that ticker tape saying West Ham sacked Julen Lopetegui and Potter appointed as manager, then I would expect it to tick over overnight as well. And you know, because these are negotiations after all. What I do find remarkable, you said it's remarkable how West Ham seem to have galvanized everybody behind feeling sorry for Lopetegui. The one other thing that's happened is they've dragged it on for so long, by the club and Potter, to be fair, that now, and I see nothing in Potter's CV that makes him an outstanding candidate, but now we've seen this so many times with players. We get linked to a player and then we don't quite get it. Oh, damn, I really wanted Keane Lewis Potter. To be fair, he's turned out to be quite a good player.
He's doing all right.
He's doing all right this season.
You picked the wrong one there.
Yeah, okay, but you know what I mean. You know, any number of players, and oh damn, you know, really wish we'd have got that guy. And it's now I'm seeing people typing, "Come on, please, West Ham, just give him the money, give him the 2.5-year contract, just get it done." I thought the Potter deal was a good deal at 6 months. I don't want Graham Potter for 2.5 years. I think West Ham shouldn't be signing him up for 2.5 years, quite frankly. So because we look like we're not going to get the deal done sometimes, people are desperate. Oh, just get him in, because this whole thing that anyone's better than Lopetegui. So, yeah, that bit's interesting as well.
Yeah, that's where I am. Would I take him till the end of the season? Yes. I think I'd take most of them, but not necessarily all of them. I'm just reading now. Yeah, Sky. One of my friends has just messaged me the screenshot from Sky, just saying that they're sorting out a few contract bits, but he could be in charge of Aston Villa games. So it's exactly what's been reported earlier. You know, contractual things need to be sorted, which has always been the stumbling block. I've when you're speaking about the rumours for the Wolves game, I've always thought it was Potter wants a long deal. Sullivan doesn't, because Graham Potter's been offered jobs previously, and I know there's a lot of, I see it in some comments saying, well, why always, he's out of work, so there's a reason he's out of work, suggesting he's crap. Now, you could think he's crap, but being out of work doesn't necessarily mean he is crap. What you think of his job at his performance at Chelsea and at Brighton and possibly Swansea, you may think he's not good enough for West Ham. That's a different argument. But the argument that because he's out of work means he's rubbish, but you're discarding the fact that Graham Potter has been offered jobs in the Premier League and he's rejected them. And we're seeing him now negotiating quite strongly with West Ham, saying, no, I don't want this one. And the other managers that we're being linked to, like Fonseca and Gaultier, is that I pronounce his name, the former PSG manager, that may take you've got people that have won titles willing to take a 6-month contract, but you've got Graham Potter saying, I'm not doing that, I'm waiting for the right job. And it's suggested that his ambition is greater than West Ham. If he was to come here, he's still maybe looking at that Spurs job or whatever, so he's not desperate. And I think maybe Sullivans fell into the trap of thinking that because he's out of work, he will be desperate. And he's discovered actually he is not desperate, and he's not willing to come. He's willing to come to West Ham on his terms. And I think this is where we are struggling to get this deal done, really. And we're trying to, like you said, oh, well, we're putting a break clause. Well, what difference is that? Oh, well, it's a 6-month contract, but if we get, and I'm just spitballing here, but if you qualify for European football, you can have an additional 2. Well, that's like.
Well, I'll just interject there.
Yeah,
They're actually doing it the other way. So it will be a 2.5-year deal, but the break clause is after the end of this. So they're phrasing it slightly different. It's 2.5-year deal, but we can break after 6 months. So they're almost making it sound juicy. So it's the other way. Rather than 6 months with the arrest bolted on, it's all of it, but we can stop it early. We can terminate it early. So yeah, it's why would he do that? If he feels he's worthy, and he's definitely got a very, very high opinion of himself, why would he accept that? He's not going to. If he's not going to accept 6 months, he's not going to accept basically what is 6 months with a few sequins and some glitter on, basically.
What's your confidence levels? I guess there's 2 questions. Give us a percentage. Lopetegui being sacked before the Fulham. Let's use the Fulham game because that was the original sort of game that was put out there, and it's been moved. The goalposts have been moved a little bit. So before the Fulham game, which is on Tuesday, what percentage do you think Lopetegui will be sacked before then?
95%, and I'm just allowing myself.
Yeah,
it's just me being a dick as allowing myself 5. I wanted to say 100%. I thought, I won't do. We're on YouTube and people will call me out.
And basically, it's 5% because of Sullivan being useless.
Yeah,
95% because of the intention.
Yeah,
but 5% because of
Well, because I don't want to be me. I don't want to be quoted. Yeah.
And what about before the Villa game then? So in the next couple of days.
Oh, man, it's just when you say it, my heart sinks, and it does sink for him, more than anything.
I bet you your percentage just reduced though.
It did just reduce because see the thing. Listen, I'm not sitting on the fence. I'll tell you the percentage in a minute. I've got to think of it. We're lessening our chances of having a cup run by keeping him in place. It's that, there's a selfishness in me that we've got to get rid of him. I honestly, do I believe anyone is better than Lopetegui? No, I don't. But do I believe that given 3 days on the training pitch, Steve Potts or whoever could organise a defence that would help get us through? Because I don't think they'll go full strength Villa. We'll deal with that in our preview, of course. I think, how on earth can Lopetegui be on that training ground and anyone listen to him? Yeah. They all know. Do you remember when we on Patreon we used to do the podcast with Anton? And then I remember talking about Ben Rama in one of the podcasts once, and I said, "Do you reckon he will have heard those rumours?" Remember me saying that? I said, I said to Anton, "Do you think Ben Rama would have heard those rumours about Moyes?" He said, "What, heard the rumours?" He said, "Players will be screenshotting it on their phone and sending it to Ben Rama." I hadn't even thought of that. Sometimes you think of footballers as almost different. They're just like the rest of us. They're all in WhatsApp groups. They're all doing their stuff. Whatever the West Ham players' WhatsApp group would have been screenshotting everything. There might even be one of them watching now. Yeah, anyway, go and I hope it's not Stebo. He needs to be doing his stretches and stuff like that. The point of the matter is, how is Lopetegui meant to be having any sort of authority at all when they all know he's going to go? What do I think the likelihood before Aston Villa? Friday, isn't it? What day is it today?
Tuesday night. Yeah, I keep thinking it's Wednesday. It's Tuesday.
Yeah. It's fine. The kids were up on. They had an inset day or so. They said they might be bunking off. So I still think it's start of the week. 70%.
It's this video that's throwing me because when we did do Cup of Tea, it used to be on a Wednesday.
Didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, because it used to be in the middle of the week, weren't it? It was far enough away from the last game, but not close enough to the next game that we could cover the gossip in one show. So that
that chance of that.
Well, that's it would be here all night going through it all, wouldn't we? Yeah. But that's why it's thrown me out a little bit. I think, I agree 95% before the Fulham game, and I think maybe 60% before the Villa game. But I'll tell you what, they're playing with fire. I don't think we'll beat Aston Villa. If Lopetegui's still in charge, that probability reduces drastically for the reasons you've given. Why would the players care? But also, why would he care? What's stopping him putting out a second string team just to have one last 2 fingers to the board and say, there you go, have that. I'm gonna play Wes Foderingham. I'm gonna do Sam Allardyce at Nottingham Forest.
Up front. I'm gonna play Wes up front.
I'm gonna play the kids. We're gonna get knocked out. Everyone's gonna be pissed off that we're knocked out. Everyone's gonna be fuming. Everyone's gonna be even more angry with me, Mr. Lopetegui. You're now really gonna have to sack me. That you kept me here. Now you're gonna have to give me my compensation and get me out because I've made this it's untenable between me and you, employers and employee. But now the fan base who are wanting me out already are getting really angry at me. But not only that, they're getting angry at you for allowing this situation. I don't think he will do that, by the way. I don't think Lopetegui will. He might rotate the side, but I don't think we'll see the kids. If anything, I hope he tries to prove a point. But the most West Ham thing ever is we win on Friday. And I'm actually, Gonzo, I'm not even taking the piss. I'm genuinely worried. Like, I am worried that there's a possible scenario that we beat Aston Villa on Friday night. I don't think we will, okay? I don't think we will. But what happens if we do? Like, the board need to consider this. What are you going to do if we beat Villa on Friday night? Because you won't sack him then. You will not sack him. And David Sullivan cares about the media spin. He does. He's always cared about it. He likes to control the narrative. At the minute, the media are sort of okay with sacking Lopetegui. If anything, they're a little bit unhappy with how Sullivan's handling it, and it's a bit of a shambles. But I don't feel it's as angry as the fan base. I think West Ham fans are far angrier than the mainstream media right now. They're just reporting on it, not really caring whether he gets sacked or not. They understand why he's getting sacked, but the handling of it, they're a bit whatever. But if we beat Villa, then you sack him. I think you might find the neutrals might say, well, hang on a minute, this is a bit out of order. You've strung him along all week. He's won the game, and you've sacked him. What's going on? They've got to sack him before the FA Cup game, because you think the situation. I think the situation could get worse, and that's if we beat Villa. So I think he's got to go for him, for the club, for the FA Cup game, for the Fulham game, for the players. No one really benefits from Lopetegui being in a job right now. I include Lopetegui in that. I don't even think he benefits from being here anymore. It's gone beyond that one.
No, he doesn't.
Just right then, percentage wise, hiring Graham Potter, where are you at?
At 90% likely to hire Graham Potter.
Do you think so?
Yeah,
what makes you so?
I think there was never any. He's not travelling up to Everton. I'm not entirely sure Everton are interested anyway. He's not going to join West Brom, who are the other team that are rumoured to be interested. I'm convinced Everton are waiting for David Moyes. Everton
waiting. What are they waiting for? He's there. Why would they?
No, all right. Well, you know what I mean. I think he's waiting as well. I'm quite certain that Moyes has been offered the odd job here or there. I don't think he's quite as popular as some might make out, but I think he would have been offered. It might have been to Southampton or to Leicester. I'm sure he's been offered something. He's a capable manager. He has lingered around a little bit too long. If he was going to walk, he would have walked by now. I think he is over flexing his muscles. But because I think he thinks he's better than I think he is, if that makes any sense. Not that it matters what I particularly think in terms of these negotiations. However, I do believe he is playing it quite well. And the club, the longer this goes on, the club might be starting to think he's better than he thinks he is. Not better than he actually is. And so they might be worried about losing him. So I think they'll probably get the deal done. I can only hope that if he comes in and he does it, I'll be fully behind him. I really will. I hope it will work out. But some of the things I've seen happen in Geo over the last little while have been. I saw earlier that Potter was credited with what De Zerbi had done. Now I know most people don't know that, and most people know the facts, but it's really important to remember what Potter did. Potter wasn't the guy that turned Brighton into a European team. He took over from Chris Hughton, and they were a relegation threatened team. He changed the style from a pragmatic. He played crap football, Hughton, right? But he did his job, and Hughton did really well. He got them up, and he kept them in the Premier League. Brilliant. He came in and he changed that. He got Dunk going for. He turned Dunk from a clunky old central defender and got him playing out. It was a metamorphosis of football, was what he did. And what he did was he finished 16th, 15th, then 9th. What he didn't do was what De Zerbi then went and done. That was he then took it forward again. That's what he did. Now, some might say, well, that's good enough for me. If you can take if you could just improve the style of play, then fine. But I don't think that's what some people are saying. I think they think that he might guide us to the promised land. He was pretty average at Swansea as well. I think I looked. I should remember. I only looked yesterday. I think it was 12th at Swansea. Ostersund's, I think he did very well. He was there for 10 years, maybe, or something like that, I think.
Yeah, he got 4 promotions, took him
yeah.
from 4th division to the top division and got him into the Europa League.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, I'm not saying it's rubbish at all, right? But I think, and I'm not even factoring Chelsea in. I would completely leave that out, and I would even say, do you know what? Maybe that was just a madhouse at the time. I'm not looking to do him down. I just want to give a realistic appraisal of what he is. I just hope that is the appraisal that's being given to the board. That actually they know what they're getting before you decide to push the boat out and commit millions and millions and millions. Ex-West Ham United employee earlier on did an exclusive that Marco Silva, we were interested in Marco Silva, won't pay the £8 million. You know, for me, Iraola or Silva for me, or De Zerbi. I don't think you get him out. I don't think you get him out from France anyway at the moment. But those would be mine. Silva mentioned, well, that would be brilliant. The £8 million that you will not pay for Silva, you get it wrong, and you offer Potter a 2.5-year deal with all the staff he wants to bring with him as well, cost you far more than £8 million. So I just hope they're not railroaded. So sorry, I know it's a long ass answer to your question. I think he'll win. I think he'll win in the negotiations, and I think he'll more or less get. There'll be some compromise, and actually, right, it'll be a 1.5 year with a break clause with an additional year option.
I'm 65% Potter signs. I think the thing that makes me think it won't happen is Sullivan's not keen on him. And we've all done it where you might see something on eBay or something, you bid for it, and you're not sure if you want it, but you go in. But when it starts to get a little bit, price goes up and it's still a fair price, you go, no, I'm not having that, because you weren't that sold on it in the first place. You always look for an excuse to bail out, or you agree to go to an event and you're not that keen on going, and it's like, oh, the weather looks, I can't go now, weather looks rubbish, best not go, thank you.
Yeah.
You look for an excuse to almost get out of it. And I just don't trust Sullivan at all, never have done, never will do. And it feels like a straightforward transaction to get done. Potter is willing to join West Ham. A 2.5-year deal is not that long. There's managers on 5-year contract. Pardew had an 8-year contract at Newcastle. I know I'm going back a little bit, but Potter had a 5-year deal at Chelsea. He wanted a 5-year deal at Stamford Bridge and got one. So 2.5 years isn't that long. Lopetegui got given a 2-year one. So I don't feel it's an unreasonable request from Potter. He's not asking for anything ludicrous. He's not my number one choice. I think he did well at Brighton. Not amazing, not excellent, but well. I think they were top 4 or 5 when he left Brighton to go to Chelsea. So we'll never know how that story would have ended that season. But they got better and better. But one thing I did like was he developed players. You know, players came in that you never heard of, and he helped turn them into good players. Look at Liverpool now with McAllister. Potter was part of that. You look at Chelsea with Cucurella, who was crap last season, but he's fantastic this season. One of the better players in the Euros when Spain won the championship. Potter, Caicedo, Potter. There's a lot of top talent in the Premier League that's played under Graham Potter at Brighton. I think he's better. I'd prefer him to Lopetegui. Would I be happy with a 2.5-year contract? No, I'd prefer to give him that 6 months and let's evaluate him between now and then the season. The thing that would ease the disappointment for me if he got a 2.5-year contract would be if Dan Ashworth rocked up with him. That's where I'd go, right, okay. But he would have to be put in a position of power. And I mean Sullivan backing right off, and this guy's running the football club. And that's why when all the chants sack the board and people say, we can't sack, but no, but they can step back. They don't have to run it. David Sullivan doesn't have to be the chairman, and he doesn't have to be the oracle at West Ham United. He could get other, and he's tried it for a short period of time with a whimper of responsibility with Mario Husalos, with Rob Newman, and now with Tim Steins. Like, there you go. Actually, no, I'm having that back, kind of thing. You don't get to do that with Ashworth. I think he has far too much arrogance. He has far too much on his CV. He's too good for the role that we offered Tim Steins. So Yeah, I'm unsold on Potter, but I would have been happy with between now and the end of the season to see what he can conjure up. I'm a bit concerned that the squad we've got will not suit him as well. By the way, I've got some worries that the way that Potter plays and the squad we've assembled. But this goes back to the bigger picture, how we massively messed up in the summer. Because how are you going from Lopetegui to Graham Potter? There's no consistency here. You're going from a guy that's been playing 4-3-3 all season to a guy that likes to play 3-4-3. Brilliant. So he needs 3 centre backs. Well, we've got 3. One of them's currently injured, right? So we come into the January transfer and they're going, oh, a midfielder and a striker. Well, if you get Potter in immediately, you need a centre back. So the whole planning for the January transfer window has gone out the window as well. If you hire Graham Potter, it's just an absolute shambles. And I don't feel like it needs to be this bad. What are you laughing at? Are you laughing at the naughty name?
It's brilliant. I love it. I totally forgot. He said, "Hello, Gonzo, I'm back." Oh, it's a brilliant name. It's a brilliant name. I'm not popping you up on the screen, but brilliant. It's superb. It's made me laugh.
Please do not pop that up on the screen or his name.
Absolutely. It's like the old Bart Simpson and the when he's phoning up the pub, isn't it? Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. Right then, this is where I want to point in direction of our Patreon. If you wish to support Hammer's Chat, I've been posting some. Well, actually, let me just click on Alan. Thank you very much for £5 super chat. Alan says, loving the return of cup of tea. Great update today. Gonzo is the next West Ham employee.
I don't think they're going to employ me. I would have to be, whatever the abbreviation would be. But yeah, never quite employed by West Ham United's employee or whatever, probably.
If you don't know what it is, you're unsure, you can give it a go for free. You can have a week's Patreon for free. Go to patreon.com/Hammer's Chat. Links in description below. Even if you do pay, if you join as a supporter, it's £3.60 per month. That's the total price. That's not, it's not a trick. It's not £5. You go there and actually there's other things added on is £6. It's £3.60 is the total you pay. That's with your VAT included. So less than £1 a week to join the supporters tier. Get additional video content, discount our online store, entry to all the giveaways. Oh, we've got a couple, but I've got one here with me. Have I got the parcel? Because then I could do another.
It's not the Alan Pardew signed thong, is it, Gio?
It's not the Alan Pardew signed thong. Oh no, I did open it.
Yes.
I've opened it. No, there's the other one. This is the second one. So this is coming up in a giveaway soon on Hammer's Chat Patreon. So this is the one. This shirt, and you might be thinking, what on earth's going on here? Do you know when the club announced players have signed contract extensions, they hold up the shirt with a year on it? This is the one Pedro Obiang had on the club's media, and he signed it. So there you go. Literally only one in the world. We've got it. And if that's not enough, we've got Galvanized as well. So these 2 prizes will be given away on Patreon very soon.
And hopefully at some point in the future we'll have the Graham Potter 2030 one as well.
yeah. Potter. There we go. Anyway, there you go. So they'll be given away. So patreon.com/Hammer's Chat. Gonzo, a few other managers have been linked to us. Do you think it's just West Ham? Do you think they're actually planning in case Potter says no, or do you think it's us dropping names into the media to force Graham Potter?
No. I must say this. They did not. The club were not dropping these names. The club have tried to shut up as best they can. No, and that's what I say. The Times article came from Potter's side. It's just there's so many people involved with so many different working mechanisms. There's so much of this is out on the training ground. So much of it Lopetegui knows. So much of it Steiten knows. There's agents involved. It's impossible to keep quiet. Paulo Fonseca came over on Friday before the Man City game. It wasn't a publicity stunt. And they just weren't impressed with him. They have clearly been. I don't think the other guy, Gautier, or I'm sure that's wrong. Is that not someone? Is that not an aftershave or a fashion designer?
Yes. But Gaultier is spelled G-A-L-T.
The goats. Anyway, I'm not sure the goat came over, but Fonseca absolutely came over, 100%. And they weren't very impressed. He didn't interview well. They also had reservations about the current. It's weird because they had current reservations about the current playing staff being good enough to play his style of football. Yet they think that maybe that they can play under Graham Potter. Yeah, so I very much got the impression that he was put on the back burner. So I got told that I couldn't, that was, I didn't know about, I wasn't told anything about the Silva one. I just, I read that like everybody else from ex-West Ham United employees. So I didn't know anything about that one. But no, there was, so I couldn't say about that negotiation. 100% Fonseca was a serious candidate. But I think, to be fair, I don't think David Sullivan's overly certain on anyone, but I do believe that Karen Brady is really, really pushing, the Potter. She thinks it will bring the name. Two separate people told me stability. She thinks it will bring stability to West Ham. Potter.
Hang on a minute, right? So she thinks he will bring stability, but the club aren't willing to give him a 2.5-year deal.
I'm just telling you what I've heard.
How can you bring stability with a 6-month contract? What's
quite possible? I don't know. Now I'm talking about things I don't know about. Quite possibly, she would like more, but it's Sullivan. So maybe she wants stability and she wants to give him. Perhaps Brady. I'm making this up now. I'm just second guessing it. Perhaps Brady was happy to give him the 2.5 years, but Sullivan saying, "Hold on, I'd just like to do 6 months here." What is really clear about all of this stuff is, so a lot of us would have thought that Potter's been lined up since before the Wolves game. He clearly hasn't. Someone asked me the other day, do you think Allegri is lined up for the end of the season? Well, and I've started thinking to myself, well, maybe someone is lined up until the end of the season. Nothing has convinced me over what I've heard and what I've seen over the last 2 days that the club are just reacting. The club are almost dealing by this on a day-to-day basis. I don't think there's a grand plan for February. Never mind a grand plan for next year. Honestly.
Well, we don't even have a grand plan for January transfer window, and we're a week into it. It's the reports of the day we're drawing up a list of striker target. Hang on a minute, we're in the month. Like how was this not done a month ago? What I will say about Silva, I'm not sure I do believe it, because that's like going to a Ferrari court and going, "How much is the car?" $250,000? What? How much? Well, yeah, it was always going to be expensive. Why would you go to Fulham and go, "How much? 8 million? Oh, that's expensive." Well, what did you think it was going to be? It was never going to be £1 million, was it? Right? It was always going to be neither 10 than 0. So 8 million, I think, is a fair fee. If you're plucking a really good, well-proven Premier League manager mid-season out of a club, I think 8 million is actually fair. The Premier League spaces are now worth 3 million roughly a go. So we go from 14 to 11. There's 9 million extra revenues paid for the compensation for Marco. So now, I'm not saying he would deliver that, but out of all the names I've seen linked to us, he's the one I'm most confident would deliver that increase of moving up the Premier League table. And it just frustrates me. Put your feelings of whether it's Silva or not to one side. It's just the whole reluctance or refusal to pay any compensation for the manager. It's just complete stupidity, especially when literally a year ago we forked out millions to loan Calvin Phillips for a few months. And I just think, how can you do that but not do? It's just absolutely bonkers. I'll never understand the mentality.
I've forgotten all about him.
Yeah, but I'll never get it. I will never understand it. They were willing to spend 3-4 million or whatever it cost us to have 5 million to have Calvin Phillips on loan for a handful of months. They can justify it however they do it. There's like things you will justify spending money on something, right? Whenever I do it, Mrs. G will go, "Oh, geologic." Because I'll say, "Oh, yeah, well, this is good value," and I will bring other things in. It won't be the cost of it. It'll be whatever I use to justify spending that much money, right?
Of course.
So whatever David Sullivan logic is when justifying spending £5 million on Calvin Phillips, it's mental that you won't apply it to spending it on getting the right manager. And if he was to change that mentality, he would avoid pissing around in this pool of 3 managers that he's struggling to go. He can't do it. He's looking at them all and he can't find one he likes. Well, actually, how about you agree in your own head that you're going to pay compensation? Now have a look. I think you'll find there's loads of managers that actually, "Oh, I love him at West. Oh, yeah, I'd like him. Oh, yeah, I'd like him." that barrier, get over it,
100%.
and you will change everything. Like you, no, I was always say if you actually fork out for the right manager, you could actually become a successful Premier League chairman. Maybe that, maybe, maybe, but just I don't get it. There's some things I don't agree with, but I can understand it. But there's some things I don't agree with, and I just don't understand. And there's not many of those, but
Yeah.
that's one of them. I'll just never understand why the club would not pay compensation for a man. Even Championship clubs do to get the right guy in. But
Yeah.
bonkers. Anyway, right, what we're going to do, we're going to stick to our old school cup of tea, which is we take questions for the last part of the show. So if you've got any questions, get them into the live chat and we'll get through as many as we can in the next 15, 20 minutes. And then later on in January, what we will do is our Mug of Tea. Mug of Tea is a series we do over on Patreon. The reason we're doing this tonight is to sort of promote that. We're not pretending. This is A discussion, B, it's fun to do, but C, a bit of a promotion for Patreon. We do Mug of Tea where patrons send us the questions. Myself and Gonzo sit down and answer every single one of them, and usually across 2 different episodes because it's that long. Thank you to Jordan. Says Sullivan is Potter's Dobby.
This Dobby is that he's
I
in
don't
Harry
know.
Potter. Yeah, little goblin. I think it's goblin.
I don't know. It's not.
I think he died. Oh, sorry, no spoiler. Sorry, spoiler. Sorry if you've not watched Harry Potter.
I've never watched it. I'm not going to bother now. I know what happens.
No, absolutely, yeah. It's not a pivotal plot line, to be fair.
Richard saying, do you think we'll stay up?
100%, yeah.
With if Lopetegui stays?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay, that's a good question. Before, yes. Now, if what we did is completely undermine him and now ask him to take charge, no, I think he was. Lopetegui was doing what Lopetegui does. Someone made the observation to me the other day that actually, when he took over at Wolves, were Wolves in the bottom 3? Yes, but apparently they were only 3 or 4 points off 12th. So did he take them up? Yes.
He also got he spent like 100 million and also got Matthias Cunha, right?
Yeah, he was a brilliant player. Lopetegui is more than capable of getting more than a point a game over the course of the season. So I am quite certain Lopetegui would have had West Ham finish on about 45 points, there or thereabouts. I don't think we were I don't think we were at any risk of going down. Our players are just our players are too good. And I know people, don't be ridiculous. Our players are better than a relegation players. And I understand that. I saw the team that went down under Glen Road. Don't worry about that. Well, it was in the end, it was Trevor Brooking, but you know what I mean. I don't think we'll go down, Richard.
Yeah, I don't think we will either. Southampton are gone as far as I'm concerned. Leicester City are expecting a points reduction, by the way, for this season. So I'm a bit geeky. I like knowing what's going on at other Premier League clubs. And this week in the Leicester City world, they're just talking about basically how much points they think they'll get deducted. And the popular answer now, it's probably worst case scenario as fans. You for these things, you expect worst case scenario. They're thinking they're maybe going to get a 6-point deduction or something. They've gone over on their PSR limit, and they think they're going to get hit with a point deduction. If so, I think that puts them. I think they're going down anyway. But I think with that would come. So to me, there's only one place up for grabs. And I quite like it. I'm still backing Ipswich to do it. I'm still backing Ipswich Town to stay up.
Be brilliant, I think.
I really like Kieran McKenna. I like the players they've bought. They've got a goal scorer. And I always say, you can back me up on this. If you're in a relegation battle and you've got a goal scorer, you've got a chance of staying up. You can get someone to score goals. Everton don't. If Everton had a Liam Delap, they'd be higher up the league, right? So who goes down with them? I'm not sure. Everton, Ipswich, Wolves, Crystal Palace. I don't think it'll be them. Us, we could get dragged in there. It's difficult. I'm struggling to call the third team because Wolves have looked a little bit improved, but I'm going to say Wolves go down. And the reason being is I don't think they'll invest correctly in the January transfer window. Watching them against Nottingham Forest with Bueno and Doherty and Ait-Nouri as centre backs is just wild. And Ait-Nouri, I think, is one of the more creative outlets, and he's stuck at centre back and he can't play wing back because they don't have any centre backs. So I think Hobbs is maybe not the best in the January transfer window. So that's why I put him in there. David says, "What's your favourite brand of tea?"
I like the Yorkshire stuff. I went to Aldi the other day and they had an offer on the golden Yorkshire tea. I thought I'd have some of that. I did have some of that.
Yeah, I'm on that now. I've always been PG tips. I went to see Tom, who you've seen on this channel plenty of times before. Went to his house when he moved house a year ago. I went to his house, gave me a cup of tea. I was like, "Wow, this is nice. What is it?" He says Yorkshire Goat, and it
Yeah.
got me. Mark said, "Is long life milk acceptable?" No.
If you're on a camping trip, it is, but not in your house. No.
Toby says, "Can you see Steiden staying if Potter's given more than a 6-month deal?"
I'm up and down with Steiten now. I got to say, I thought he was on his way out. And I keep seeing getting pictured everywhere. Steiten was in that meeting with Fonseca and Sullivan as well. And he got pictured in the brothel with Potter the other day. Sorry, I should probably say we've not done this for a while. That's a joke. There'll be people. What? Yeah, it was in a hotel which Sherlock investigated. Sherlock Holmes, my partner there.
Steve says, under Potter, where would we finish in the league?
I couldn't say.
12th.
I couldn't say. I really. I don't mean I can't say. I won't say. I have no idea. I don't particularly rate him, but I don't think he's useless. By the way, I don't think he's useless. But he takes. Yeah, I just. Yeah, maybe. I think it's hard for us to finish above 13th this season.
How do we do these videos without losing our rag?
What I think he means how do you not lose your rag with me?
Oh, with you? Oh, I've got used to him. I just ignore him now. I just shrug it. Whatever. Yeah, whatever. Just tune out. You get used to him. It's like Gonzo's got used to me.
He's got a mute button.
Jake says, do you think Potter will give the youth more of a chance?
I don't. It's one thing I've not explored. I don't know what his youth record was like. I don't know.
Good, but the problem is there's a huge difference between the development at Brighton and West Ham United. So I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Because Brighton get their players ready for first team football.
Right.
West Ham willing to change my mind in the summer on Freddie Potts, but West Ham up until now do not, in my opinion. Speedy, and you kind of answered this one, but we'll do it anyway. So, do you think they're only offering 6 months as a precaution, or because they have a summer target?
I did, but now I'm not so sure. I just I did think that, and I that would make a lot of sense. But everything I've seen over the last 2 days is so reactionary, so reactionary. I still think the club, well, people within the club are very split. I still think people within the club expected Lopetegui to turn it around until very, very recently.
I don't think they've got someone lined up for the summer. Not a chance. That's why I would only give them 6 months, by the way, so we could get someone lined up for the summer. But I've got zero confidence. I'll tell you why. This is the reason I didn't want Moyes. That was the reason I didn't want Moyes getting sacked last season. So let's give him his final year of his contract. That gives us an entire season to identify who to come in and replace David Moyes. Gives us an entire season to identify players for the new style of football. Stupid me. We did a whole season. We had a whole season to get ready, and then got shocked that David Moyes wasn't staying beyond the summer. I've got zero confidence that anyone at the club. I include Tim Steiden in this because he was here last season. Steiden, Noble, Sullivan, Brady, any of them. I've got no confidence any of them. If we gave Potter a 6-month contract, we'd realise we've only given him a 6-month contract and start to look to get somebody in for the summer to replace him. We'd get to the summer and go, oh, Graham Potter's out of contract. Oh, yeah. And I'll tell you what, if he didn't get a new deal, we'd be linked with Paulo Fonseca. We'd be linked with Sean Dyche, any other manager that's out of contract. We'd be linked with the same managers again. Nothing would change. The date changes, and that's it. Mark says Füllkrug is on Juventus's radar. Would you let him go before getting a new striker in?
I want to see a bit more of Füllkrug. I also think it makes no sense because he said he was homesick for Germany. So why is he going to go to Italy? It's the first time we've done, but apparently they've done a little cheeky loan inquiry. Juventus. It's got to be worth our while to do it because I liked what I saw against Man City. I want to see a little bit more actually. And I was thinking about it the other day. What was the old cart horse striker that Brighton used to have who used to score against us?
Well, Neil Mopey.
No, not that. He was the annoying one. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Was he Murray? Did he play under Potter? He got him playing, didn't he?
He must have. I think Neil Mopey was a main scorer under Potter, weirdly enough. I've got that in my head. I don't know why.
I don't like him, but he was always good. The old veteran sort of journey. He was like a journeyman striker, and so I did think earlier. I wonder if Potter could get Füllkrug playing. You know what I mean? I want to see more of Fulkrug, so I wouldn't be in a hurry to let him go.
Tell you who Potter could get playing. Evan Ferguson.
Did he play under him?
I'm pretty certain he did. I could be wrong, but I haven't researched, but I feel confident in my answer because Ferguson's been injured for so long. So that rules out Herzler, and I think it almost rules out De Zerbi as well. So
I was at the game, the Ben Johnson game. I was at the Amex Stadium, and he came on as a substitute. I remember he's huge. He looked big, So I don't know if that game was on. He was definitely played in that game. So I don't know if that was under Potter.
I'm a massive no for letting Fulkrug go out in January, unless there's a club willing to come in and give us 20 million, which nobody will, right? Or a loan with an obligation of 20 million, not an option, an obligation, guaranteed 20 million. I wouldn't do it. I said, no, look, he's our striker. We've been waiting all season for him to be fit. He's fit. You can't just get rid of him now. Sometimes transfers are bad transfers because of your own doing. I don't think this is Fulkrug's fault. He got injured. It's not his fault. He's come back. I think he's looked pretty good since his return. So, yeah, give him a chance. He's not really had an opportunity yet. And I think let's give him one. He's looked good in these last couple of games, scored a couple of goals, which isn't much. But we speak of needing a goal scorer. We've technically got one. It's just getting him scoring. So, no, I wouldn't be why would you loan him out though? I think you loan out players that aren't getting game time, or you want to get them off the wage bill. Danny Ings I'd loan out.
Yeah,
but Fulkrug, the guy started our last 3 games up front. Our main striker. Nah, unless you've already brought in someone to replace him, and even then, I'd still be a little bit hesitant to let Fulkrug go, because I think if you do that, you wipe your hands of 20 odd million. Performs well between now and then of the season, you might get a little bit back on the Bundesliga.
I think we'll do a deal with Ings, by the way.
Yeah,
I think he's got 6 months left, so I think we'll give him 3 months and he'll find another club.
Typical cup of tea and food question. Major says, where do you keep corned beef? Cupboard or fridge? It cuts nicer when it's cold.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right, mate. Yes. So it's obviously in the cupboard before you open it. Once it opens it goes in the fridge. But yes, you can't slice corned beef until it's been in the fridge. You want to slice it nice. If you're stingy like me for the children, you want to slice nice thin slices. Then it's got to be in the fridge. Otherwise, it just sort of crumbles, doesn't it?
Yeah. It depends on the usage. If it's going in like a corned beef hash, then I'd put it in the cupboard because it crumbles.
Of course.
But if it's for a sandwich, which I don't really have a corned beef sandwich.
Corned beef and tomato sandwich is a good sandwich with nice thick butter.
Yeah, but do you know, I buy the slices. I know it's not as good.
I see you. This is what YouTubers do.
I know. I'm sorry, I failed, but I would just buy the corned beef slice because it's in the deal at Tesco, 2 for 3 quid or 2.
You only get like 4 or 5 slices in like the vacuum pack or whatever.
Yeah, but that tin of corned beef's like 3 quid these days. It used to be
Aldi. It's not £1.89. Not that I'd know.
I won't go to Aldi or Lidl.
They should sponsor us. Oh, you won't. Yeah, you don't want them to sponsor us. You probably want Waitrose or something to sponsor us. So you and your sliced.
No, I get pissed. Lidl's the neatest one. I can walk to Lidl and I get pissed off, and I'll tell you why. Because do you know when they say, "Oh, it's cheaper to shop here"? Because there's no choice. You have to have that brand, right? I don't like it's like, and I went there when we were doing the hospital thing. I needed to get cotton wool balls. No one tells you this stuff. One day the nurse said, "Have you got cotton wool balls?" I'm like, "No." So go for cleaning. I was just going to use baby wipes, but I'm not bringing that into hospital. I'm going to get shot down if I come in with a pack of baby wipes. Going, right, here we go. Let's clean our arse with this. But what are you doing with that? Get that out of here. Cotton wool.
Yeah, they're in the water and all that. Yeah.
No, sterilised water. I went and got tap water at one point and got a row. What are you doing with that? I was like, what's the greatest respect, love? What do you think I'm doing when I get home? The wipes are coming out. But anyway, so I had to go get cotton wool balls. So I went to Lidl. And I said, "Have you got cotton wool balls?" No. And then this turned to another member. "Do we do cotton wool?" And she went, "No, we just do." I can't remember how she worded it. Sanitary pads. What's that? What? That's not a replacement.
No. Did you buy any?
No, I didn't. That's not an equivalent. Oh yeah, going with that. Yeah, get slapping a tampon on.
So if they did have like the sanitary things, they'd be called Timpaks or something like that, wouldn't they? Every slightly different. I like it.
Nearly always, not quite
I
always.
love a pack of Minster Minch.
I don't know how they get away with it, to be honest with you. But
well, they had a row. Mark Spencer had a row with him because Mark Spencer's got I think it's Colin the Caterpillar. It's not the pig. Colin the Caterpillar, and they did like Charles the Caterpillar or something like that. Yeah, brilliant. I love it. Good stuff.
They're always getting in trouble, but they're just like, whatever. But anyways, anything you'd like to say before we disappear, Gonzo?
There is, but I'm not going to say it. Anyway, no, I'm not going to. I'll tell you later. But it's just something popped into my head then. No, I just look. It's an absolute mess at West Ham at the moment. I will look if we bring. I don't want to sound too negative, Nelly. If we bring Potter in, I will absolutely get behind him, and I'll allow myself to get excited by what he says and his brand of football. And if we're going to bring him in, I just hope he's the guy. I really do. But we're going to need to take some leadership. Look, I've got a video coming out tomorrow morning on the forum channel. It's going to seem a little bit delayed. It's going to seem like I've recorded it 24 hours ago because I will have recorded it 24 hours ago. But I'm not going to waste 16 minutes of my own time. I had to scrap it. I had to go on the back burner today because the Fonseca news broke. But in that, I want to talk about Dan Ashworth, about the director of football at West Ham and everything like that. If one good thing can come of this, if Potter manages to strong-arm West Ham, and this I haven't said on my video because I recorded it before, if Potter manages to strong-arm West Ham into hiring Ashworth and he helps build an infrastructure, then that's a good thing. What you said in your video this morning is absolutely bang on. It's pointless bringing in Ashworth or anyone like that on a 6-month deal. What's the bloody point? He's a long-term strategist. He builds an infrastructure at the club. Then I would start to get a little bit more hopeful about it. Excited is a little bit too much, but it is a worry. I'm very, very worried about how I think over the last few days, how easily influenced people are to be reactionary at the club, with people having decisions forced upon them. I've been very, very concerned by it, actually, because it doesn't bode well. Because if you are that way, then you're just going to stumble your way through everything and react and always have indecision in your mind when you're trying to make decisions. So I'm a little bit, I'm more than a little bit worried about it. I just hope we do a decent thing for Lopetegui. I don't want to say, I know what you're saying. It would be a press conference, but I just don't think we should be putting Lopetegui through that press conference. So I hope they do the decent thing, but that's not on there. That's not top of their agenda to do the decent thing. Make no mistake about it. When his time is up, the fact that he takes training will matter not at all. Karen Brady will turn up at that training ground and she will just dismiss him.
Yeah, she was happy for having not to have a way home after a game of football. Like
she stole his A to Z as well.
Now, before we disappear, I've got
that was a joke as well, but that didn't happen.
We've got a thing from Matt Law, which I guess sums up the situation around Lopetegui in a weird way, and it's actually quite sad. But before we do, if you haven't already, please do drop a like on it, especially if you've been watching live. 1,400 people were watching live at one point tonight, which is fantastic. So a massive thank you, and please do subscribe to the channel. And if you're watching this later Tuesday, Wednesday, get involved in comments. But Matt Law said Lopetegui cancelled a team bonding meal that had been planned for Tuesday night as he was waiting for confirmation that he had been sacked by West Ham United. That's a sad situation for him to be in. That he's arranged something, get the players together, get morale going. We've only lost 2 games. This is the thing. Team bonding is usually when you're in a relegation battle or whatever. We've been beaten by Man City and Liverpool. Before that, we'd gone 4 unbeaten. But he'd arranged a team bonding meal and he had to cancel it. Tonight, Tuesday, it's tonight. It was arranged for tonight, but it's cancelled because he's waiting for confirmation that he's been sacked. And
that's a lot of wasted corned beef hash, that is.
That is a lot. Anyway, it's just a sad situation, really. Sullivan, and we should do the decent thing. We've gone beyond that. It's no longer the decent thing.
That's right.
But just do what's right. Sack him. This needs to come to a conclusion. It should have come to a conclusion yesterday, today, whatever. But by tomorrow night, please, for the love of God, put him out of his misery, pay him off, give him his money, sack him, and get next manager in, whoever that is. Anyway, massive thank you to everybody for joining us, Gonzo. I'll catch you in a bit.
Will do.